Bee's Busy Life. I'm Brenda, and I am grateful to have you here. If you're a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and for supporting my channel. And if you're new here, I post cooking videos, budget shopping, how to be frugal, and a few other things that come up in my life. If you like those kind of videos, please consider subscribing so that you see all of my future videos. Today, we're going to do freezer meals for small families. I did a video a few days ago where I took one beef roast and made 4 meals from it. And today I'm going to take 1 chub of 3 pounds of ground beef and make 4 meals from it. As an empty nester, Grandpa B and I can't go through meat the way we used to. And I like to buy my meat in bulk because it's a better deal. So how do I use it up, and how do I prepare for busy evenings and still have variety? So that's what I'm going to show you today, how to take one of those 3-pound chubs of ground beef and make 4 meals from it. I am sorry that my upload schedule has been so off this week. I normally post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And this week has been completely off. Next week, I promise you, I'll be back to my normal schedule. A couple of things going on this week. This collaboration for the freezer meals has thrown it off a little bit, and I got a promotion at work. And so with that comes new responsibilities that I'm learning, and it's thrown me off a little bit this week too, but we will be back to schedule next week. So those of you who have grown used to seeing every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, that's coming back next week. So let's get started on our freezer meals for small families using ground beef. The first thing I want to tell you is I took the long chub of ground beef and broke it into 4 equal parts. So this is 3/4 of a pound, and I'm going to make burgers from this. And I like to add a little bit of seasonings to my burgers before I pat them out. This is just seasoning salt. I don't want too much salt because I can always add more when I cook it, but I do like a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper in it. And a little bit of, it's just garlic powder. The easiest way is to just dig in, but before I do that, I wanted to show you. I got a regular size bag of tater tots, and we cannot use the whole bag at one time. And I'm going to use the tater tots for another meal today. So I put 1/3 in this bag, 1/3 in another bag, and then I'm going to use 1/3 for one of the other meals. So I'll have a little bit left over. I want to put these with the burgers so that it's one meal. All right, so I'm just going to get it mixed up and pat it out. Pretty easy. You guys know how to make burgers, right? I'm just going to divide it into 3 equal pieces because Grandpa B will eat 1 for dinner and 1 for lunch. And I will eat 1 for dinner. And I just took a piece of parchment paper and 1 long strip, set it down, put 1 on top, put the other one on, fold it over. And that just keeps them separate because you gotta keep them separated. I think this is gonna just make it easier to get it into the bag. I did write on the bag 3 burgers. And then this is just ready whenever we wanna do burgers. Now here's the other thing. When I buy a bag of buns, it seems like we use half of them and the rest go to waste. I hate that. So what I've decided to do is to take 3 of these buns and package them with this meal and freeze it so that I have it with the meal and the buns don't go to waste. Okay, so I've got my burgers, my tater tots, and my buns. And then I just have this cheap twist tie top bag. These bags are already good protection for the freezer, and this bag is cheap. So it saves me a little bit of money. And then I'll just twist tie this top and freeze it like this. I can see what it is because it says right here. And the meal's ready all together. And it's perfect for just 2 of us. Now for the next meal that uses buns, and I'm gonna make sloppy joes, homemade sloppy joes. Okay, I browned all the ground beef that was left, so the 3/4 of the tube, and then I just put in some of my frozen chopped red peppers, frozen chopped onions, and some jarred garlic. If you've been around my channel for very long, you know I always use the jarred garlic because, well, let's be real, I'm a little bit lazy. Okay, maybe we should call it efficient with my time, right? All right, so this is 1/3 of the rest of it, so it's 1/4 of the total amount of meat. And I'm just gonna warm the peppers and onions through. They're gonna cook a little more as I make this sauce. So if you've never made homemade sloppy joe sauce, I think you're gonna be shocked at how easy it is. I will link a recipe from Pinterest, but I don't ever use a recipe, but I'll find one that's similar to this so that you can follow an actual recipe. Like my daughter-in-law says, I measure by heart. I put in 3 squeezes of ketchup. Yeah, ketchup, simple ketchup. A couple of dashes of Worcestershire sauce. A squeeze of good old-fashioned yellow mustard. You can use Dijon mustard if you want, but the flavor of yellow mustard is perfect. Just 1 little squeeze. Some pepper. Some salt. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot the most important thing. Brown sugar. Just about a tablespoon of brown sugar. It might seem odd, but the tang from the mustard and the ketchup mixed with the sweetness of the barbecue, the sweetness of the brown sugar really makes it so good. That's it. I'm gonna get this cooled off and into a bag. This next recipe is so simple, and I'm sure you've seen it before. It is a classic tater tot casserole. We call it Wally Stew. It's not a stew at all, but we call it Wally Stew. So I'm taking half of what's left of the meat. And we call it Wally Stew because my dad is a firefighter. And, well, he's retired, but he was a firefighter. And this is a meal that one of the fellow firefighters named Wally made, and he brought it home to us for our family. And so we call it Wally Stew. That's just a can of cream of mushroom soup. Okay, 1 can of green beans, and I just sprinkle it over the top. I like to use the French cut beans that are thin. I didn't have any, and this works just fine. Now the fun part, I'm just taking the last bit of the tater tots. And I like to line them all up in order because it's cute, and who doesn't want cute, right? Good thing I had more tater tots, right? It'll be fine because whatever's left, we'll use with another meal. And this actually will serve 4 people. This next recipe is stuffed peppers. One of the most important things for stuffed peppers is that your peppers stand up. Then, I've washed them, and I'm just gonna cut the top off, pop the middles out. And this portion, you don't need. You could use it as a cap. I never do. I just chop this up and stick it in my freezer for use another time. 3 is enough for dinner and lunch for both of us. All right, Samantha, I know you're watching this. I had technical difficulties. My memory card filled up and I didn't know, and so it stopped recording. So let me tell you what's in here. I've got the rest of the meat and a half a cup. It was a half a cup uncooked, so it's about a cup of cooked rice. I put in some leeks and peppers that I had just frozen in my freezer, and then 1 can of taco sauce, and now I'm going to put in 1 can of just regular tomato sauce, and a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper. Mix that up. Do you see the spoon I'm using? What? Oh my. That should be better. All right, and some cheese. Can't go wrong with cheese, right? Okay, in order to freeze these peppers, you need to have them standing up. So I just fill them in this little tray, and then as soon as they're frozen solid, I can put them in a Ziploc bag. That way they're easier to store, because I don't have a tray that's tall enough once these are all filled. I usually just fill them right to the top until I see how much filling I have. And I just pile it on because it's going to freeze into one solid block. I just start with less so that I can be sure that they're even as much as possible. Alright, I'm going to set this on the shelf in my freezer, and then tomorrow when it's frozen solid, I'll take them out, put them in a gallon Ziploc bag with the instructions written on for baking, and I will also include a small bag of shredded cheese with it to put on top once I put it in the oven. I waited because I didn't feel well yesterday, and I waited to film this video, so I don't have time to show you it completely frozen, but they freeze beautiful just like this, and then you put them in the Ziploc bag, and then they'll store for quite a while in the freezer. To bake these, I put them back in a tray like this so that they're standing up, sprinkle cheese on top, and let them thaw in the fridge overnight, and then I bake them at 375 for about 40 minutes. As soon as the peppers are soft, they're done. Everything's cooked, so it just has to heat through. The biggest thing is you want your peppers to be done. That makes them so delicious. Now my kitchen is a huge mess, and I don't even care because I have 4 amazing meals that I can stick in the freezer, and when I'm working late, which I'll be doing a lot more now with my new position, I have meals ready. So I discovered something amazing. This foil pan that I put the peppers in fits in a gallon bag. So I just put some cling wrap over the top so I could slide it into the bag, put the instructions on the bag, and I'm just going to freeze it like this. Then when I take it out, I can just take the bag and the cling wrap off and bake it right in this pan. What? I know, right? And I have 3 burgers that are ready with the buns and tater tots for a full meal. No veggies with this meal. I'm going to put them on my burger. Tomatoes and lettuce and pickles count as veggies, right? Tell me in the comments if you agree. Someone agree with me. Tomatoes, lettuce, and pickles count as veggies for a meal. I've got my Wally Stew. I forgot to write the instructions on it, but I will write the instructions on it. This is really easy. 350 for about 45 minutes if it's thawed, and if it's frozen, it's 325 for about an hour and a half. And the sloppy joes are ready. I put the meat mixture, the buns, and the other thing of tater tots in here so I have a full meal. I'll probably add a veggie to this besides tomatoes, lettuce, and pickles. Does anybody else put pickles on their sloppy joes? So good. I love a sliced pickle on my sloppy joes. But I'll probably add some broccoli or something to this meal. So 4 meals with 1 chub of ground beef. want variety when I make freezer meals, so I like to do it this way. I will leave all of the information about ingredients and how to cook it and how to assemble it in the description box. And if you end up making these, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear how it went. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day. See you again soon.